Hello from me, Lazarus. We continue with the next lesson of the course by HTML. We are currently on chapter 13. Hyperlinks in HTML. We open the PDF file. Hyperlinks are a major part of web pages. They are used to create of links to other sites, to others' pages from our site, and to others' parts of our website. This one variant is called an anchor and is used mainly when our web page is very large in volume. Hyperlinks can lead not only to web pages, but also to specific ones: files, images, photos, schematics, executable files, and more. By default, hyperlinks are displayed blue in color in the browser and highlighted. Visited links are colored purple. The color can be changed by using CSS, or through the attributes, which are no longer supported. For hyperlink implementation is used element A, as between its tags the text you need is written be visible in the browser, and when click on it, the page opens, the place the hyperlink leads to. In HTML5, the A tag is only used for hyperlinks to other pages, but not for an anchor, as a link to the same page. Element A has several attributes. We will not stop at all because some of them already are not supported in HTML5. And there are also newly introduced attributes. Full information is available at this internet address. The most important attribute of the A tag is href, which indicates the address to which the hyperlink leads. We also had such an attribute for the link tag, if you remember. Here's an example: this code with example HTML school. We try it as we put this code in the new 13.html file. All the code in the editor would be the following, and in the browser we will see only this text HTML school. And by clicking on the link, the V3 Schools website opens. Through the href attribute they can be two types of addresses specified: absolute addresses, which we considered in previous lesson on images. It specifies the full path to the file, or the site to which the link leads. Relative address, when it is on our site. It indicates the relative location of the file relative to the current directory, folder. Hyperlinks to a page on the internet: in this case an absolute web address is used, which specifies the full path to the file. This is the so-called URL, comes from the Uniform Resource Locator from English language, is a standardized pointer to the network address of a given resource. It is the URL that allows different devices connected to the internet, yes, find a specific file located at a given server and download it or show when it is an image. Each URL consists of the following parts: protocol, host name, path, and file name with the corresponding extension. The protocol renders a set of rules for data transmission on the internet. It is standardized, separated by a colon and two slashes from rest of the address. Here it is: the name of the host consists of prefix, most often www, site name, and domain name, that is, where the given file is located. A real web address is a numeric address, and that's why I'm here uses a single DNS system to be able to this combination of numbers to be converted into understandable words. We can make an analogy between DNS and the phone book. Each name corresponds to a number, in this case an IP address, so the DNS system makes it possible when we want to link to a site not to write its IP address and the connection is made. Path specifies the full path to the file. Server files are stored like any regular file on the computer, in directories, folders, which in turn may be located in other folders, in a tree structure. And every next level separated by a slash to the right. The main directory at the top is called root. File, here it turns out the name and the file extension, separated by a dot. The extension indicates the type of file, we've already looked at these things as well. HTML files have the extension .html, or .htm, and CSS files have a .css extension. Hyperlinks to pages from the same website, or anchors, as they were called here. And with them, the address can still be changed set in two ways, absolute or relative. With the absolute, you have to keep in mind that when changing the domain, or in the location of the file, you need to update the address in the hyperlink. That is, the absolute way is not so good. The relative, we have already looked at it several times, and in the previous lessons when the file is in the same folder, that only the name is written, when it is in another folder, in the root site directory, then the name of the folder is written plus a right slash plus the page name. And the last case when the page is located at a lower level in the tree structure of the site and we want it to link to page located in the root directory, we write a colon, a slash, and the name of the page. I have given examples here with links to parts of the same page, or so-called anchors. In some cases with a page with long text it's good to have links to individual parts of this page, or for content at the top of the page, when we want the individual parts of it to be also links to the relevant places. The realization of this idea is carried out as in the designated places the so-called anchors, or markers, are placed, and then, wherever we wish, they are placed hyperlinks that lead to these tags. Before HTML5, this was implemented in one way, and now in HTML5, in another. But there are still many sites, which are made in the previous way, therefore we will consider both options. 1. In HTML 4.1, the anchor is created with the href attribute on the A tag and then it is placed in the place of the page, where we want the link to take us. The anchor should have the following format, you can see it here, then at the top of the page the hyperlink itself that will lead is placed to the already made anchor. It must contain the name of the anchor with the sharp sign in front. So, let's test this with an example. I have given such an example here, we won't do it here in the lesson now, you can read it carefully in the PDF file. Thus, the anchor can also be invisible, when between the opener and the close A tag has no text written. The anchor can be assigned text, that can be seen on the screen. So, this whole example we have shown it here so we won't go into it now. Now I show here, in the second subpoint how this is implemented in HTML5. That's where it takes place via the global attribute, that is, instead of code, in HTML5 it is used the global ID attribute, which serves as a unique identifier. It can be added to each element of the body of the document. This is done like any other attribute, in the Elements opening tag. In our example, we will add identifiers of the 3 paragraphs in the last way, see it here, and we make a new example in which we try it all out. You can read it in detail here in the PDF file, we will not cover it now in the lesson. Hyperlink to part of another page on our site. When you have to create a hyperlink to a specific part from another page, then we combine shown in points 13.4 and 13.5. From this chapter, we will explain this with an example, which we will not consider here either in detail, and you will see it in the PDF file. Image as a hyperlink. Besides text, for hyperlinks can serve also images, pictures, photos, and more. To use an image as hyperlink must be written code, similar to the following. Here it is. In this case, the image.jpg and the myphoto.html page are located the same site directory, and when click on the image, it will open the myphoto.html page. By default, browsers add frame around the image. To remove it, we must add in the img tag the following code, and before HTML5 spelled differently like this, open hyperlink in new window. This is the last point of this tutorial. Usually the hyperlinks are loaded to the page they lead to, in the same browser window, from where the link was clicked, but this is not always convenient, because thus the front page is lost from view and we have to return to it, above with the back button. Therefore, to open our page in a separate window, to the A tag the target attribute must be added and assign a value to it _blank. Here is an example, which you can view in the PDF file. As the value of the target attribute, a randomly selected name can also be set, something like this, and thus all links, for example 3 in number, assign this attribute with the same value, will open in the same window. That's all for this tutorial. Best regards.